YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It has been said by royal insiders from the palace that Meghan and Harry's book will cause incredible damage to the royal firm and to the image of the royal family. Now, there have been a lot of reports leaking that this book is going to tell a story that is definitely not going to favour Kate or William in any way, shape or form, which is meant to be a really bad prospect for a future king and a future queen and consort. It's said that they will essentially be using the royals' private business to make money, and it's been jotted down in a way in which it's going to make the firm look bad. I think this is really tragic, and I definitely think it's low of Harry to allow this weaponized attack through this piece of literature that they've put together with the likes of this Carol character and Amid Scooby to be out there. I personally would not have allowed that to happen out of respect for my family. Even if I didn't want to be a part of the firm, there definitely would not be this reckless book. Now, I think we've all seen that the price of the book has been slashed majorly across the board, now selling at an extremely heavily discounted rate. I don't know if that's because it's simply just not selling and people aren't interested. That probably has a heavy factor to play in it, because we know that Meghan and Harry are only going to be telling a story that they want us to believe from their perceived perception of themselves and the way in which they feel they should have been treated and how they feel they have been mistreated. Now, most people aren't really interested in that because we've seen the wealth that has been bestowed upon them. The £42 million wedding, the £2.4 million dream renovation of that house, Frogmore Cottage, is absolutely beautiful. And they've had all of these beautiful things bestowed upon them, and yet they're still ungrateful. And then they have the audacity to have a book being put out there under the guise of finding freedom. They are two very privileged people who have had a very privileged existence in the top 0.001%, who just keep on complaining. And that's what really gets me, and that's what fuels this channel. They are constantly doing the woe befalls me act, and we're not interested. They're going to struggle with this, and I think it's going to backfire in a terrible way. I'm going to carry on with this article. Cashing in will carry a heavy price for Meghan and Harry as they sign up to the top US public speaking agency. Harry and Meghan have decided to make a living by singing for their supper. And this is something else. They're going to be given these public speeches, which we know will be throwing indirect daggers of shade back to the royal firm. It's going to definitely be a negative experience and result for the whole royal family as a whole, as one unit. It's going to do more harm than good. I'm going to carry on. They've signed up to the top US speaking bureau, the Harry Walker Agency, which has ex-presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton on its books. It has reportedly secured its top clients up to $1 million a speech. So this, I imagine, is what Meghan and Harry are gunning for. We know that they want to get off of the Duchy of Cornwall's cash. They want to be financially independent, but are they worth that much? Do they have enough life experience behind them and normal, regular, relatable ideas to be able to command that much money? You have to have a value somewhere in this ecosystem of giving speeches. We know people like Oprah Winfrey have had a really real life. She's worth £1 million, £2 million per appearance. Meghan and Harry don't know anything much really outside of who they are. Meghan was indulged as a child, which is my understanding. She's had a lot handed to her. And Harry, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. What do they really have that they can talk about? Can they really relate to regular people like us? Can they really relate to go through that transition of being a normal person to the dizzy heights of fame? There's no follow through with their journey as to how they got there, the barriers and the obstacles that they had. All Harry can really talk about is his mum, which was a traumatic experience. But beyond that, what else is he going to talk about? The Sussexes will talk about topics that are important in their lives and in the world, we are told. They will focus on social issues, racial and gender inequality, the environment and mental health. All perfectly laudable, yawn yawn, and you can tell by that this is a Daily Mail publication. Who really wants to hear them bang on in their woke way about green issues and gender and race when there are far more interesting things to talk about, like the royal family and Diana? See, now I don't think that we expect or that they have the capacity to talk about they're going to talk about Diana, Harry's going to talk about Diana, but it's still not enough. There has to be more meat to the bones than just talking about Diana, and we know that they're not going to really dish on, I think they will dish on the royal family in their book, but they're not going to really dish on them in public appearances. They could do. I know that they're definitely going to throw shade, but it's not going to be in-depth dirt. I'm going to carry on. Of course, talking about the royals is not their plan, it's said, but surely even Harry realises the only real currency he has on the US speaking circuit is talking about his mother, whom Americans idolise like Jackie O and his wider family. And I've seen quite a few comments from Americans saying, actually, you're wrong on that. We don't idolise Diana because a lot of people in this current generation don't even know who she was. A lot of people born nowadays who are 20, they don't know. It wasn't their time. They were children when it happened, etc, etc, etc. So there's all of that dynamic going on. And for people that was around, it's been a while now, hasn't it? As for Megs, her views as a mixed race eco-warrior and actress surely have a very short shelf life, which they do. Meghan doesn't really do eco, does she? She was wearing the most expensive clothes. She wanted to fly private from the very beginning. As soon as she got married, everything got upgraded. There's nothing environmentally friendly in her actions that really will be believable in these speeches. We know that in her private life, she flies private, she wears really expensive designer clothes that are not ethically sourced all the time. We all know that inside stories of the royals is where the real money lies. We know they'll be sorely tempted to do it, given the highly expensive LA lifestyle they've adopted, even if it is subsidised by Prince Charles. Well, it's already been subsidised by Prince Charles. In fact, Prince Charles is paying for absolutely everything right now because they're both not working. Do I think that they will be doing the tell-all interviews against the family? I would like to think that they wouldn't, but it is a possibility. It'll be really sad if they do, though. I think it will only cheapen them further and do more damage than good for them. I don't think it will really damage the firm as much as it will damage their reputation. They may have left the royal family, but it's only their royal status that gives them any kudos. It's the hypocrisy and, yes, greed of cashing in on that status while claiming to distance themselves from it that so many of us find galling, as well as the piety and virtue signalling. Oh, for the old Harry, who used to belt out English rugby's anthems, Swing Low Sweet Chariot, with the best of them, instead of the new one who, driven by his wife's PC agenda has demanded this much loved spiritual be banned because it was written by a slave. But that's just Meghan and Harry all over, isn't it? They are a walking paradox of contradiction. They said they want to lead a private life, yet they attach their names to every single thing that's trending, every single thing that's in the media. They're constantly in the media. They have their friends talking to the media. They are just a walking paradox in itself. Anyway, I'll be back, guys. Bye.